Hello, and welcome to today's episode of Demystify Selling with Microsoft. And I am very excited because I'm joined by two guests today, Michael Strigger and Soo Hoon Go. Soo Hoon, welcome back, and Michael, welcome to the show.
Excited
Thank
to be
you,
here.
Rob.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to our discussion today. We are going to be talking about, I think, is going to be of interest to every Microsoft partner, and that is selling in the new era of AI. But before we get into that, maybe Suhun, you could just take a moment, introduce yourself and your role at Microsoft for our guests.
Sounds good, Rob. Thanks, Rob, for having me back. It probably means, like I did well enough to be invited back. So thank you for
You
having
did.
me. So for folks who I didn't get to meet in our last recording, my name is Siu Hoon. I lead, in Microsoft, our global vendor digital sales motion. So, it's an engine that closely work and partners with our partners in Microsoft that kind of really helps with our SMB customers, right? Like going out and growing our SMB customers and business together with our partners. So happy to be back. I promise. I think in our last call, Rob, because talk about how AI in this future of sales in the AI era is a passionate area for mine. I promised to bring a friend, with me, and so Michael is here today. And he's been a great partner with me and my team. Around how we think about AI innovation in our team. Yeah.
Okay, Michael, you got some big shoes to fill
Oof.
there, my friend. But maybe
You
you could take a
know,
minute just
just a little bit of a big shoe to fill, but I'll do my best. Michael Stricker, I am supporting all of our global SMB motions as an innovation lead, rethinking a lot of our sales processes, how we engage with customers, how we engage with partners, to really make sure that we're delivering a really good customer and partner experience at the end of the day. And as you all can imagine, AI is really at the forefront of a lot of the thinking that we're doing here at Microsoft and how we can make ourselves and our team members more effective and still deliver a really good experience at the end of the day. Having been a seller and a manager within our SMB space in my career at Microsoft, I definitely wish a lot of the things I've been working on now I could use way back then because it would have changed my life easily.
absolutely. I think that there's so many ways that AI is changing the game for everything we do. So I'm super excited for this discussion. And so, Michael, let's start off with you, and maybe we can talk about from that 50,000 foot view. How do you see AI changing how we sell, changing the customer experience, and the kind of opportunities that we can uncover using and leveraging AI?
Yeah, it's a really good question, Rob. When I think around the opportunity here, I really ground myself on what our mission here at Microsoft is and what we really want our sales teams to do. And for me, that's really about giving and delivering a great customer experience and spending time with our customers. That's really what we want our teams to do, is spending as much time as possible talking with our customers and our partners to make sure that we're driving impact in digital and AI transformation for them, as well as for supporting Microsoft at the end of the day. So anything that we can do to remove the noise that prevents a seller or a partner from doing that, that's really, I really think AI has an opportunity to come in and drive an impact at the end of the day. So if I imagine myself as a seller back in 2015, if I'm dating myself, I would spend a copious amount of time just simply not even talking with customers, all the in between, all the downtime. AI is really meant here to build processes and automate processes to make sure that we're removing the things that sellers don't like to do, and that's preventing them from engaging with their customers. And that's where I really see us being able to drive growth at the end of the day, is if we're able to do that and spend more time with customers, we win all around.
I love that. I love that. And kind of what I heard there is really taking the sort of ancillary tasks that we do as sellers and finding a way to automate those so that you and I can spend more time with customers and doing those high value tasks. Is that kind of what
Absolutely. Yeah. High value is going to be the way of the future for sure.
Right. I love that. I think that's so true. I think that AI really it does change the game when it comes to those repetitive tasks and tasks that, just we have to do or have to be done, but
Mhm.
don't really require us as the sort of primary resource. So thinking about that, where do you see the learning curves in the adoption of AI? And where do you feel like is the biggest sort of learning curve a seller may have to overcome?
Really good question, Rob. Here at Microsoft, we've been on a journey the last few years now, ever since we've released M365 Copilot, various Copilot apps across our suite of products
Mhm.
to really enable not just our sales teams, but everyone at Microsoft to leverage AI for their day to day. And I think one thing has been very clear. People all have a certain way of doing things. They have a way of doing things that has been their tried and true way of completing specific tasks, engaging with specific individuals, doing their business at the end of the day, and trying to go through those barriers of just adoption, I think is going to be the biggest learning curve, especially when you take yourself in the shoes of a seller. I mean, I used to have to go in and I manage everything with an Excel, for example, to update like where I'm at with a specific account. That's something that
Yeah.
people within my account team also leverage. And in this world of AI trying to automate a lot of these processes, we need to break some of these bad habits.
Right.
So this change management, when it comes to being able to let loose, if quote unquote, and be a little bit more free and trusting of AI to do the job that you normally would reserve to yourself, even if
Yeah.
you didn't like it at the end of the day. That level of trust and comfortability with it is going to be the biggest thing that we need to make sure that our sales folks are comfortable with to fully rely on AI.
Yeah, I love that. What comes to mind for me is that saying, "The old dog, new tricks." I'm
Yeah,
like, "Wait a sec here. I'm feeling a little old now."
so true.
Yeah, no, I love that you have to sort of set yourself free and say, "Okay, can I envision a different way of doing this, and can I
Right.
trust my copilot to help me out and to do those things?" And I think that, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, is that it might be a little bumpy at first,
Hmm.
and you might not quite know how to phrase what you need Copilot to do for you or how you would like it done. But I think if you're open to that, that really opens up a lot of doors. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think that's a really good call out, Rob. At the pace of change and innovation that we're just seeing within AI, someone's experience with Copilot a month ago may be completely different as it is now, just because
Mhm.
things keep changing, things keep getting better. So I think the one thing that we also need to lean in a little bit more is someone's experience that they've had can honestly set up their potential future perception of what experience that they may have in the future. And that simply isn't the case. So it's more around breaking yourself out of a cage of having like expectations being X and then being more accommodating for this learning journey because we're all learning at the same pace. But being open to go on that journey with it, I think, is a mindset shift that a lot of folks will need to go on over the next month, year, because AI isn't going away.
Right. That's for sure. Yeah, you're either on the train or you're going to be
Exactly.
left
Yeah.
behind.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And maybe, Sue Hoon, we could transition over to you and I could ask you what your experience has been. Now, you manage these SMB teams and you've got a number of sellers that are living this day in and day out. I'd love to hear some of your experiences and maybe some of the lessons learned that you've taken away as you're starting to implement what Michael has shared with us here.
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, we've been on this journey. Now I think we're probably, about a year or more than a year, slightly more than a year now since we launched, Copilot. And it's definitely been a learning curve, I would say, Rob. Like Michael says, is a journey and we continue to learn and evolve and,
Mhm.
apply, kind of what we have learned as well, right? Very quickly across the different teams in Microsoft, so we can all get better quickly as well. So, the way I kind of, and Micah might remember this, when we first started now this co-pilot journey, we had this obviously because for our own sellers, we wanted them to use it so they could sell it as
Mhm.
well to our customers. So we had this kind of logo. It's called "Learn It, Use It, Sell It." So first of all, we had to have them learn it, right? Because it's new, for all of us. And so making sure, we've kind of got all of the interactive, training sessions, skilling fairs and stuff like this. I think at one point we had like a 2 days AI days where, we carve out the time for everybody, in our business to really kind of, make sure we focus the time on learning, about it. And then we went on a drive to, obviously having people deploy it, use it, together with Michael and the broader team, how do you make it fun as well, right? So, we had an ongoing competition, like for example, across in our LT, like a competition around whose team was trending ahead, and so Michael publishes this like kind of weekly performance of where we are, and then you got bragging rights, right? Like around it in a way and stuff. But more importantly, we also wanted to measure around how people were like regularly using it, right? Like the frequency. We didn't want people use it once a month, just because of get hitting a metric or something. In the end, I think Michael mentioned it as well. You want it to be a habit, right? That it becomes natural. Like, all of us come in, to work, open up our, PC laptop for, in the morning. And we have an established kind of habit around how we get started. And so, we wanted, kind of co-pilot and obviously other AI initiatives that, that is coming up as well, around how do you build it a habit that's something natural that they will use it, right, in their day-to-day work. And it's not because it's, hey, just top down and everything. And so the ways we went around it, obviously, is, as a seller, what is your end goal you want? You want to optimize your quota payout in a way, your commission payout in a way, right? That's probably number one, kind of obviously you want to make sure it's a great customer experience. Let's make it clear.
Yeah.
As a seller, like, a great incentive for you is if you can optimize, right, your commission and your payout as well. And so, the way we went about was to go, did a lot of research, data, insights, and be able to articulate clearly that if you use Copilot daily, right, what is the impact of that, right? And through researching all of the various teams across, we realized that sellers that uses more than 70% daily Copilot usage, they actually probably get about 2 hours back every week. And it's not just the time, right? It's actually the outcome and the impact of it, right? Which was, we realized that, they created 5% more opportunities. They closed 20% more deals. And at the end of the day, about 10% more revenue. And so imagine not just the time saved that they now could go do something that is, probably more exciting for them, which is spending time with customers and partners and delivering 10% more revenue as an outcome, then maximizing their payout as well. So being able to, I think, articulate that value and the impact to sellers, go, wow, there is a real, call it, outcome and impact out of that is going to impact each and every person. The second way was obviously kind of, again, we want to make it more fun and everything, but around it you also have to be very specific with the scenarios of how they could use it as well. And this is where we have leveraged a lot of the early adopters, right? People who are like really keen when we launch new technology. They're the first one, like, okay, I'm gonna go try this, I'm gonna use it, I'm gonna apply it in a way. And so how do we learn from these early adopters around what are those scenarios that are really so helpful, right? And then how do we package it? How do we have these early adopters come and share their learnings, with, the broader teams as well, right? Like all labs. So I think if you put the right amount of attention tops down, you build it, with, gamification, fun, learning from their peers who are early adopters, and then being able to articulate the real impact out of it. That itself, I think, in the last 12 months or so, probably has been a great learning for us around just kind of, packaging days together and getting, all of our sellers on board this experience on this journey, with us.
I love that. And I love the fact that, you tie it back to something that's near and dear to the seller's heart, which is their commission check. I mean,
Yeah.
it's at the end of the day, if we think about what Michael was saying, is that we free up time to spend with our customers. And I don't know any seller that doesn't want more time with their customers.
Yeah.
So I really love that. And I have to say, learn it, use it, sell it. I mean, that has to be a mantra right there for all partners. I mean, that to me, I think that that really is key for the partner community to really understand the value of Copilot and how it changes the game, especially in selling, is to start using it. I mean, do you feel like that's the way partners should approach this? Is this a very similar sort of approach?
Totally. I'll give my perspective, and Michael, you can share. Totally, Rob. I think, one, we've all got to learn it, right? Like,
Hmm.
and until we go through it and appreciate it and, use it ourselves, right? I mean, by the way, the speed of innovation is very fast. I mean,
Yeah.
which has always also, I would say, kind of, it's been a bit of a challenge for us, right? How do we create that space and time for our sellers, to continue to learn? Because it's not a moment in time, right? You learn and you say, oh, I know it now and stuff. Because the speed of innovations that comes out, like, I mean, from Microsoft, I think every week we're announcing something new. Every AI tool we're
I
announcing
feel like it's
something.
every day, just to be
It's every
clear.
day. Okay, make it just feel like, almost every day. Like, I'm like, I thought I learned this, and then, we'll announce new innovations. I'm like, oh, cool, right? But now you got to
Yeah.
go find the time to learn it in a way. But yet, I think, like you say, if you don't intentionally carve out the time to do it, this train is ongoing, right? Like, and
Hmm.
it's going fast. So you have to catch up with the pace of it, in a way. So I think, the earlier to get on the train, to go learn it and use it yourself, I think it's so critical, like, in a way. And
Yeah.
Michael hasn't even talked about all these other exciting stuff about agentic capabilities that we are.
Oh, well,
Copilot,
you just opened
like
the
Copilot
door.
is Copilot is like a foundation in a way, but like, I mean, if you look at, which Michael can, talk a little bit about, like all of these agentic capabilities, we're learning, we're testing as well. Like it's gonna be like the next changer. And so my, kind of ask to all of the partners is get on the train, learn
Yeah.
it, right? And then use it as well. And then get your sales team to use it, because that's the way. I think we're all going to be in an environment that, we're all going to be asked to do more, but you're not going to be given more resources.
Mhm.
So
Right.
that's your path to get there, like, to more productivity, to more effectiveness, right? Like, and the earliest you can get on, the earliest you're gonna see the impact out of that. Yeah.
So true. So
Michael, what
true.
about you?
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, Michael.
the big thing I want to hone in on that you said, Sahun, is like really the intentionality behind it all. Here at Microsoft, we have dedicated teams specifically looking at and driving impact with AI across all of our teams at Microsoft: sales, operations, service, etc. So building that intentionality around it and having this built into like an actual practice that each of your team members can actually preach is critical. And to give you some more insights, about 2 years ago, we started really focusing on driving AI adoption within our sales org at Microsoft. And we went on this thing called an AI World Tour, where we actually were boots on the ground, like driving AI hands-on with our sales teams, with our managers on the use cases, the scenarios that they see AI actually driving impact. And we actually took a lot of those learnings into the product development that
Mm,
our engineering teams are actually building into the product and the capability, because we know that this learning curve, it can be steep. And if you have one poor experience with AI, you're likely not to go back and revisit it. So that intentionality becomes super important. Like regardless of the experience that you may have had months ago, going back to it and having those champs in that community that are continuously helping folks within your team in the field continue to leverage and drive this is going to continue to pay dividends at the end of the day. Like Suhu mentioned, that we're seeing already within our org, like 2 hours a week, time saved. Like, yes, please sign me up on that.
Right. Yeah.
Um, So the opportunity there is huge, but you just need to continue to beat the drum at the end of the day.
I love that. And as we're coming to the end of the show here, I think that one of the things, for me at least, that stands out is the opportunity that AI presents for our partner community. I think the Microsoft partners have a massive opportunity, not just to help end clients adopt AI, but to get them ready for AI, to really help take them on the journey. And it's to
Yeah,
your point, it's not just a point in time. We go in, we finish, we leave.
yeah.
It's an ongoing journey. So, I'd love to hear just a 1 minute or a 30-second little your thoughts on that, Michael, and then Suhoon will end with you.
Yeah, I think Sahun and I have done a lot of reiterating around this point. Is it's very important that we continue to lead with an innovative way of thinking, because I think just what Sahun said earlier, like we're being asked to do a lot more, and but we're not given more resources to do it. So it's up to us to be really innovative and be a little bit smarter of how we go to market, how we engage with our customers, to what we talked a little bit earlier about what we're doing here within sales automation. One of the things that our sellers give continuous feedback on is doing these cold phone calls and cold emails to our customers.
Mhm.
Is that resulting in a lot of valuable time and a valuable opportunity that me and my partners can then work on? So one of the things that we're rethinking here within our SMB space is how do we have an autonomous agent engage our customers further up the funnel, so that way when it actually comes to a seller and to a partner, we have something that is worth engaging, something that's actually qualified, but that's saving copious amounts of times for our sellers and partners.
Yeah.
It's that type of thinking that becomes important on what are the use cases you can actually leverage AI for, that not only that we at Microsoft or our partners can leverage, but what are those stories that we can then sell to our own customers at the end of the day? What are those use cases and scenarios that are actually going to drive AI transformation? So this is one way that we need to continue to think when it comes to AI. Sehun.
Yeah, no, that's so spot on, Michael. I think Rob, for me is, like I think we're at the point where AI isn't just a nice to have. It's already a must for any business, right? As a partner and and their customers as well, right? Because we have already seen it's really already driving real critical business impact, not just for sellers, but actually the businesses themselves. And the businesses who are gonna embrace it are gonna be the ones who are staying ahead and will stay ahead. So very quickly, if you again don't jump on the train, I feel like we're at that moment in time where, like in the cloud and the mobile era, just before it. If you
Yeah.
didn't get on it, you will become irrelevant, like in the next quite couple of years in a way. So the moment I think for me, the key thing is about the urgency of jumping onto the train like
Yeah.
now. Yeah.
I couldn't agree more, Stephen. I think that if, as a partner, you need to be on the train, I think your customers need to be on that train. It's going and it's at full speed, or it's working its way up to full speed real
Yeah.
fast. And so
Mhm.
I love this. And Michael and Suhoon, I want to say thank you for joining me today. I've loved this conversation. I think the Microsoft partner community will get a ton out of our conversation. So thank you for that. One last question is that if a Microsoft partner wants to reach out to you, is LinkedIn the best way to do that?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Great, great. Well, again, thank you for joining me. I really appreciate your time and I look forward to our next conversation.
Thank you.
Thank
Look
you.
forward to giving back again.